Welcome back to our conversation about local politics in 2019, what to look for, what to expect. We're talking with Matt Murphy and Katie Lannan of the State House News Service. And, of course, you cannot have a presidential campaign cycle without Massachusetts figures involved. It's written into the Constitution, I believe, in the fine print. Former Governor Deval Patrick has pulled himself out, so we don't have to worry about that or discuss that. But Liz Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, is front and center in all of this. Will she or won't she, Matt?
I mean, I still think all signs point to yes. I mean, even just this week, you saw her naming a new chief of staff to start for the new congressional session because her old chief of staff, Dan Geldin, who has been with her for a long time, moved over to the campaign during, this fall in a race that she really didn't have much of a contest from Republican Jeff Deal, and he's staying there. I mean, it looks like she's really putting the pieces of a campaign together. So I say yes.
Katie?
Yeah, I mean, far be it for me to disagree with a pretty valid point.
Yeah.
It's still early on, but we're going to be entering kind of the crunch time of people entering the race, and, you know, how left or how center the Democratic field goes is still a variable, but I would be surprised if she's not in it for a while.
In the meantime, you know, polls this early in the cycle are relatively meaningless, but stipulating that, her poll numbers haven't been that great. They weren't that great internally in Massachusetts recently. They haven't been great in New Hampshire. Her standing seems to be deteriorating within the party, not growing or even holding stable. That's curious, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think for a long time we thought of Elizabeth Warren as kind of the darling of the left.
Right.
She was this cult hero in some ways, and as we looked at 2020, we kind of thought she would assume that mantle in this big, crowded field, but other people have emerged. There's a great affinity for the Obama years, and that's kind of propelled Joe Biden, who people know. There's people like Beto O'Rourke, who of course lost in Texas, but is kind of the new face of the party, and Warren seems to be kind of on the back end, but polls this early tend to shift.
Well, listen, there's a big local race coming up in 2020. Senator Ed Markey is up for re-election, and there's been a lot of speculation in insider circles about will he run again? If he does, will he face a primary challenge? There was talk about Congressman Moulton as someone who might challenge him. He says he's not interested, although that can change. Joe Kennedy is out there. What do you make of all that, Katie? Is that something you're looking to see develop this year?
Oh, absolutely something we'll have our eyes on. You don't see open seats come up that often in Massachusetts, and we don't have an indication at this point that this will be an open seat. But you also don't see a lot of primary challenges. Seth Moulton, as you mentioned, won his seat primarying then Congressman John Tierney. Right. That kind of started a shift. We saw more primaries in the congressional race this cycle. Ayanna Pressley, Congresswoman-elect among them. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. We could see it. Barbara L'Italian, the outgoing state senator who ran in the 3rd district, this past year, she's been floated as a potential primary candidate against Moulton.
Well, you know, Ed Markey is known for his acronym puns, you know, where he makes NRA is not relevant anymore, that kind of thing. How about BBYB? BBYS, better buckle your seatbelt. How does that work for you?
I don't know if that's quite Markey caliber.
No, it's not very snappy, is it? Well,
and the thing I think also is interesting to watch is if it doesn't go down in 2020, what does that mean for 2024? There's a bottleneck of young, talented Democrats waiting behind Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, and if that seat doesn't open up and you have, Maura Healey and Mayor Walsh, Joe Kennedy, Seth Moulton, do some of them run for governor? Do some of them, leave politics? I mean, the possibilities there, I think we don't know how it's all going to shake out.
Wow. Matt, Katie, thank you so much for being here. Have a happy new year. And to all of you, the same. And listen, where else can you get 2024 political talk? 4 years, 5 years ahead. Thanks for joining us. Right now, I'm going to send it back to my colleagues for more WBZ News.